Hello, this is Joseph Henson from Outthink Group, and this is a walkthrough for MyBooks for Authors, the plugin. So the first thing I'm going to do with this plugin is I'm going to install it from the WordPress dashboard. This assumes that you know how to log into WordPress and install plugins. So what you're going to do is once you're logged into WordPress, as you can see, I have a blank, brand new WordPress website here. I'm going to go to my dashboard. And I'm going to click Dashboard, and then under Plugins, I'm going to go Plugins, Add New. I'm going to search for MyBooks by just typing MyBooks there. Install now, and I'm going to say OK. Some hosts will ask you for FTP information here, and that's where you just type in that information and click Continue. But most hosts are just going to go here, and then you'll have the option to activate your plugin. Once you have the plugin activated, you now, instead of just having posts and pages, now you have posts, pages, and books. The books post type that MyBooks for Authors adds is just another level of different post types that you can add so that you can add more content to your site, but it is clearly in the books section and not in pages. So whenever you want to add a new book, you go Books, Add Book, and then you're going to enter in the title of the book that you want to add here. The book that I've chosen to add is The Zombie Survival Guide, and I'm going to add the title and the content, which would be the description of the book, and then after that I have the book subtitle, which I'm going to add here. And by the way, I suggest everyone read the Zombie Survival Guide. You know, it's to prepare you for the coming zombie apocalypse. Amazon URL, and then any other bookseller links that you have, you want to go ahead and add these there. Note the plugin does not support all booksellers because there's just too many to do that, but I usually I try to hit the top ones, and you know, you can still add links just by you know, adding their icons and then selecting them and linking them like that. So the next thing I'm going to do, so that now that I have that content in place, is I'm going to set the featured image, and to do that I'm going to click over here on the right side, Set Featured Image, and then I'm going to upload an image. But I've already uploaded it, so I'm going to choose the image that I've uploaded and click Set Featured Image. So that's going to choose that as the featured image. Once I'm done making those changes, I'm going to publish. Now once this is done, I'll be able to view the book. So when I click View Book, I have the Zombie Survival Guide, text about the book, and then on the left side here I have the Zombie Survival Guide image of the book, and then a link to buy the book. Also, this image is also being linked to Amazon as well, so whatever is in the Amazon field it's going to put there. So, so a couple things about this. This happens automatically, but this is something that you can turn off. The way that the content filter on the Books plugin works is it checks to see if there's a featured image, and if there is, it puts it, it inserts the image automatically. If you're using the buy link shortcode, which is just a shortcode called book links, it will not insert this. So basically it checks to see if you have an image or if you have the shortcode. If you have either one of them, then it doesn't use whichever one it doesn't need to use. It's kind of hard to explain. Let me just demonstrate that though. For example, let's say I wanted to insert an image. I wanted to do it differently. I would click Add Media, insert the image. I'll go to a custom URL. Say I wanted to go to some other, like Amazon.com or something. I want to enter the the full size image centered, insert into post. Now I have the full image. It's inserted in there nicely. I click Update, and now the filter behaves differently because I have added an image. What it does is it puts the image at the top, and then it puts the shortcode at the bottom. And then another variation of that is, say I want to put the buy links down here. I'll click book links. I'll type book links inside of a shortcode like this, update that, and then whenever I view book, now the book links are below the below the book, the image of the book. And then I could also go back and edit the book, and as many times as I repeat this, the book links, I can put them anywhere else. So I can put them at the bottom and at the top. That would be useful if you had a really long page, or if you had some reviews and you wanted to kind of run the page down and describe things. So that's kind of how that works. And so that's the content filter. Now, because I have both the image inserted and the short code, it's not going to attempt to use the content filter, which is kind of what I want. But in the case that you, or maybe you had your own custom single or books page, you can remove the content filter from the books type by checking this box here, which turns the content filter off. So if I save my changes there, and then I go back here and I remove the book image, and I actually just go ahead and remove every reference of the short code, then when I do that and I view my book, now you'll see that actually nothing gets modified in here, even though I don't have the image. So if it's bothering you, or sometimes your template or your theme that you're using automatically puts featured images in there, well, what you can do is you can turn off the content filter so that that featured image doesn't get added. So generally, I don't like to build themes to where they're automatically putting featured images in there. So that's not an issue I run into, but I have had people email in with that problem. So going back to the way that I had it before, though, with that, and then having something like that, I would be happy with that. And then any URLs that you put in here are automatically going to be linked. And so I'm going to update that and view book. So there, now I have three sources to buy the book. So that's the page. Now, at this point, I'd like to talk about the widget. So the MyBooks for Authors also has a widget that you can use, and it automatically handles mostly everything pretty easily. So what you do is you go to Appearance, Widgets, which is just this standard place for the widget, and then I've already added it here, but I'll just do it again just to show you. What you're going to do is drag the Books widget over to the sidebar, and then now you have the option to add a title if you wanted to. Now this is the standard kind of title, kind of the same thing you use here, but you don't have to add a title because it's already going to pull in your book title and subtitle. And then you can choose stuff like how many books to display. -1 means all books. In which order do you want the books to display? You can choose a random menu order depending on how you want to do that. Most of the time, menu order is the best. Also, you can choose whether you want to rotate the books in and out with an animation. So if you wanted to have them fade in and out the different books that you had, say you had like 10 books or 5 books, you could do that by checking that, and then after that you can say seconds between the slideshow, and then this is to choose whether you want the book image to go to an overview page, or if you do not select this, if you just leave it the way it is, then it's going to go to either Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever, whatever is on that list first. So if you have Amazon, it's going to go to Amazon every time. But if you don't have an Amazon link and you have a Barnes & Noble link, which would be pretty uncommon, it's going to go to Barnes & Noble. So anyway, that's the way that works. So I'll click Save, and then I'll view the site, and now I have the Zombie Survival Guide is now on my site, on the sidebar, and it looks good, and I'm happy with the way that looks. But say I wasn't happy with the way that looks. Say I wanted these Amazon, Barnes & Noble icons to show differently. With CSS, because every theme is different, I can't specify for things to look perfect on every site because I don't know what every site is going to look like. But I do know that if you change the height of these things, then you can also relatively change the width. If you're not happy with the way the buy links lay out in the sidebar, you can change those via using CSS. But if you don't know CSS, then I would suggest finding someone who does, or reading up about it, which you can do it just by Googling CSS syntax and etc. But if I was going to modify this in CSS, I could target the specifically the store links image, which is that element right there. It's inside of a paragraph with a class of store links, and it's an image. So store links image is going to target that, and then I'm going to change the height, not the width, because the height is explicitly defined here. So so I'm going to change the height because the width is not defined, so it's going to adopt whatever size it should be. So right now that height is, the width is 96 and the height is 32. So I'm going to go height of 20 pixels. And I'll see that maybe is a little bit too small. So let's try something a little bit bigger, 25 pixels, and I'll just bump that up until I'm happy with how everything lays out. So 30 pixels actually works pretty well. So so I'm going to copy that right there out, and then I'm going to go back to settings, MyBooks settings, and then paste here store links image height 30 pixels, and then I'm going to save my changes, and then I can refresh the site, and I'll see that that has changed in it, and it looks the way I want it to be. One other thing I want to point out while we're looking at more advanced settings is that the image on the right side is set to crop out at a maximum of 250 pixels wide by way of the sidebar width thumbnail here. If you want to change this though to say 100 pixels wide, then all you do is just change this to 100 and then click Save Changes. And though this is not actually 250 pixels, I have some a script in here to resize it to the appropriate size. It's 188 pixels. By saving that, it will force the image to be 100 pixels wide. And so if I was going to do something like for example, let's just say I wanted to make this, I had a lot of them and I wanted to make them smaller. I'd say 75, and then refresh this, and then I might add some CSS and to target specifically the image, which is attachment book thumb, and I'm fine with that. Float left, and then margin right. I might make that like 5 pixels just to give it a little bit of room, a little bit of spacing in there. And so there I can put one book on a line like that, and then the more that I add, the more that they will fall in properly, because you'll have the book and the title and the subtitle and learn more all on one side. So so that's just something that I might do. In fact, I'll go in here, I'll copy that and then paste that in the CSS as well. And so that's going to, that CSS is now going to be loaded onto the page. So I'm going to refresh the page, and now I have that new styles. So that's a more advanced usage of the MyBooks settings and what you can do with the settings in here.